All right, guys, it's Brandon. Welcome back to another deck profile. We got one of our play group members here, Jacob, today, showing one of his deck profiles. It's actually pretty nasty. It's kicked my butt a couple times, and a couple other members are going to be here as well, probably chiming in. So it's kind of an inclusive deck profile, which I think is going to be pretty sweet. So Jacob is just going to be nice enough to run us through his deck, explain some synergies potentially, some card choices, and just what makes his deck unique and our play group unique. So yeah, go ahead, Jacob.
Hi there, guys. Jacob here. So I brought my Atraxa Grand Unifier deck to remind everyone what she does. She is for green, white, blue, and a black, and 3 generic for a 7/7 with Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink. When she enters the battlefield, you reveal the top 10 cards of your library. You may choose a card for, reveal the top 10. Yep, sorry, just jumbling my words. You choose one of each type, put them in your hand, and the rest of the bottom in a random order. It's really good at refilling your hands and creating synergies that I didn't think possible until I built this deck. I wanted to kind of throw a little bit of everything in the deck too, so I had like a Path to Victory with enchantments, with artifacts. Those are my big two. I have other card types that help benefit and whatnot. I've got a couple good combat tricks. The Planeswalkers in here help support different strategies in the deck. I've got a couple of good combos as well, so to speak. One of them is more strict combo than anything else. It's not one of those infinite combos. It's nothing like Splinter Twin or Thorical or anything, but it's pretty nasty, given the combination of cards. So yeah, I'm happy to go through each part of this deck in brief detail and fill you in on how this plays.
Awesome. I'm excited. It sounds pretty diverse. So yeah, we can get into whatever section you want first.
All right, cool. So let's start with a breakdown on the mana support, the ramp.
So like your commander, how do you balance like ramping while managing to keep like color fixing, because it is a 4 mana commander, right?
Yeah, so well, it's a 4 color commander for 7 mana, but no, it's all good. So I try to keep a good balance. You want to balance your basics and non-basics. You don't want too many basics because you're gonna want some dual and tricolor lands to make sure you can still access your all of your colors as much as possible. But you also don't want to put in too many non-basics because that'll just create a slow deck if you're just filling the deck with non-basics like Gates, the Rugged Highlands, Scoured Sands Cycle, Scoured Barrens, that's the card. So yeah, for this deck specifically, I run, for the basic package, I run 13 basics. I run 4 plains, 3 forests, 3 swamps, and 3 islands. If the breakdown seems a little even, I know there's a lot of white stuff in here, that's why I add 1 extra basic above all else, but typically I try to make sure everything is balanced more than trying to skew for, oh yeah, let's cut a forest, swamp, and an island for 3 more plains or whatever, because I don't want to be in a situation where I need blue or something, but I can't get blue, right? Because otherwise that just stalls out games and whatnot. And it can especially happen more often in 4 color decks if you don't build that land base carefully. Now for the dual land package, I try to fill in a bunch of 2 and 3 color options. So I play things for the 3 colors, for example, Rafine's Tower, Opulent Palace, and are those the only 2 I put in there? Yeah, it looks like it's the only 2 I put in there. Then I have a bunch of 5 color mana fixing and fetch type lands like Command Tower and Evolving Wilds. I mean, it's not a fetch land like a Misty Rainforest or whatever, but it's the basic stuff, you know. You gotta have your Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds. I also have cards like Reliquary Tower in here because I don't want to like have a situation where I reload my hand with Atraxa and I have the discard. So I put in cards like this, and I think I have 1 other Nomax hand size card in here just to prevent having to discard cards. I mean, I have a bit of Recursion Reanimation in case that does happen, or I just try to pull back on what I do pick just to make sure I don't have to go to discard step. But otherwise, Reliquary Tower is handy for like just loading up if I really want to, especially if I blanket. I have one way to blanket in this deck. I cut it more for some of the ramp package. Speaking of the ramp package, I decided to be a weird goofball because that's just the kind of way I am. So for the ramp package, 7 of the cards are the Fallout bobbleheads, the strength bobblehead, the perception bobblehead, so on and so forth. Excuse me. And each of those, they all tap for 1 mana of any color, and then they all have different wild effects that have a bit of utility in games where the rest of the deck isn't working. So like if I want to use strength bobblehead to put 1/1 counters on Atraxa, or say I need to filter my draws with perception bobblehead, or I want to attack right away with a couple of creatures I have and I use agility bobblehead to achieve that. They're just kind of nice to have, I've noticed, in the deck, and they don't really slow it down per se. And it gets to the point where I've got like 3 bobbleheads in a turn. It's like, okay, I'll tap these lands to play a bobblehead, I'll tap these bobbleheads to play another bobblehead, I'll tap this bobblehead to play a soul ring, you know, that sort of thing. So I because these are included as well, I call the deck Atraxa's special stuff. So we're just gonna let her stash her special stuff elsewhere for now.
How many do you think you get out per game on average?
So if you're going for the luck bobblehead win,
4,
it's
you think?
about 3 or 4, yeah.
3 or 4? Okay.
No, our friend in the background there is correct. 3 or 4 is usually the number I get out. So if you're trying to go for the luck bobble win or bobblehead win, this isn't the deck for it. Those are just there as more utility and because I'm a
Kinda like
goofball.
flavor.
Yeah.
That's pretty
plus
sick, though.
plus I bought all the Fallout precons in one go, so I didn't want to put the bobbleheads in one of the 7 decks because it'd take away from their theme. Plus the bobbleheads inclusion in those precons were I don't know, it was flimsy because you didn't have more than 1 or 2 bobbleheads in each of the decks, but I'm going off on a tangent here, so I'll just get back to this deck. But I have some other non-special ramp as well. I have, like I said, Soul Ring and Arcane Signet earlier. Did I say that earlier? No, that was in another take. Yeah.
That's okay.
So yeah, I run things like Soul Ring and Arcane Signet because, of course, I don't have much for fetching lands with my ramp, so I just have a Cultivate and a Rampant Growth, as well as a Mightstone, Paradise Druid, and a Mightstone and Weakstone. I know it's a little light on ramp spells, but I have like 38, 39 lands in this deck, I think. You'll see it in the deck list provided by Brandon, probably in the description below. Right?
Yeah, I've built mine similar too, where I don't run as much ramp as long as I can get to lands, right? Because our table goes like quite long into turns sometimes, and as long as you can get lands out, like your artifacts are just gonna get blown up anyways. So.
And with the amount of ramp spells I have played, this isn't exactly a landfall deck, so I haven't needed more than this ever, which is surprisingly efficient in my book. So
nice.
Yeah, no. And then otherwise, I have a bunch of other kind of sub-themes laden into the deck based around the different card types. So like for artifacts, for example, I run, mentioning the Mightstone and Weakstone earlier, I do also run Urza Lord Protector, which turns into that meld pairing Planeswalker you can probably look up in the deck list. I'm not going to flip him right now, so. But I have other things that like artifacts, like Shroom the Hegemon, and Cranial Plating, and Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. But then I'm like, I can make everything artifacts, so why not include Mycosynth Lattice and Encroaching Mycosynth? That way, like, let's say I have Mycosynth Lattice, Cranial Plating makes something crazy in power. Tezzeret's Master of the Bridges +2 ability not only gives affinity for each of those artifacts to create other creatures and planeswalkers in the deck, but I can +2 him, hit everyone for damage equal to the number of artifacts I control, and then gain that much life. And then when you get past 9 loyalty and get to his ultimate, you can quickly stop doing that. -8 him to, sorry, let me read him. Exile the top 10 of your library and put all artifacts on the battlefield. So essentially, with that effect, with Mycosynth Lattice, as long as it's not an instant or sorcery, it just goes on the battlefield if it's an artifact, right? At least that's to my understanding of Mycosynth Lattice. If I'm wrong, just yell at me in the comments, I guess. But yeah. No, and then Urza gives everything a discount, does a bunch of crazy stuff. It's a nice little package for that, right?
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Holy.
For enchantments, I kind of have a weird little side quest secret commander type thing because I just realized, wow, these cards just work together really well. What if I throw in this creature? What is this creature? Zur the Enchanter. Zur is really funny with enchantment removal. I'm this close to actually building a full deck with Zur, but a lot of my good enchantments are in other decks, so probably not for a while. But I thought, hey, I'll play a mini Zur deck within Atraxa just to keep things interesting. So I'll run some, you know, usual suspects and 4-color, not red enchantments, your Broker's Ascendancies for 1/1 counters, your Rhystic Studies, I don't need to explain that card. Propaganda as well. I also do the one thing you should have. I also have the one enchantment you should have whenever you play Zur the Enchanter, and that's Reconnaissance. For 1 white, and it's a 1 white enchantment. For 0, you can remove target attacking creature you control from combat and untap it. So you can, like, let's say you play Reconnaissance. You attack with Zur, go get Rhystic Study, use Reconnaissance to pull him right out of combat. It's a really neat little trick to get some other cool enchantments as well. I've got things like In Search of Greatness, Authority of the Consuls, Dictate of Crucifix, just some good cards that do a mix of affecting the table, bettering my board state, and being a little friendly once in a while, because we all need to be a little friendly sometimes, not just when we play Group Hug, right? Any questions y'all might have about that, perchance?
No, I had no idea you had that much going on in that deck.
Yeah,
so.
no. There's more. It's crazy. So I went over the lands, of course. And then I'll just quickly go over my removal package. It's kind of big, but I've put it into 2 groups here: targeted removal and more board state removal / things that kind of mess with the board. So my more direct removal, I have Crossing Grip for artifacts and enchantments. It's also really great at getting rid of a Smothering Tithe or Rhystic Study from a white-blue player, especially with the split second. They can't counter it. They can get bent. You can tell them it's a skill issue, whatever. It just gets rid of it. I also have the usual suspects of Swords to Plowshares and Path to Exile, just because they're cheap and effective, right? And when you're playing 4 colors, you don't want to you don't want to have to spend too much mana on removal if you can help it, especially if you can invest in your future game plan. I also run Despark because there's a lot of good stuff that printed recently that's 4 or greater, and it's another cheap good enchantment to get rid of the big stuff. So, or instant, sorry, I didn't mean enchantment, whoops. And then for manipulating the board and messing with it, I did include Phyrexian Revoker that prevents people from activating abilities of chosen card name. But I also run Darksteel Mutation. Now this card I don't see a lot. It's a enchantment aura for 1 and a white with enchant creature. It makes the enchanted creature a 0/1 insect with indestructible, and it loses all abilities. It literally becomes, as the flavor text describes, infinitely powerless. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's your monolithic commander. Cool. Darksteel Mutation. It's a bug now.
What are some key cards you've hit with these before?
Okay, so
Commanders usually.
Yeah, usually commanders, but sometimes I've been really funny. I had a really funny story about this one, actually. So I had a friend who was playing his Wilhelt the Rock Cleaver deck, and he has Scarab God in the 99, right?
Okay, yeah.
And that deck's really funny and really mean. So I'm like, well, I don't want you reanimating stuff with Scarab God anymore, so I'm just going to turn that Scarab into a different kind of Scarab, I suppose. So,
cool.
Yeah, but Phyrexian Revoker's good against a lot of activated abilities. Like I said, it can stop things like Kin and Bonder Prodigy, or Basalt Monolith if you're trying to shut down that combo. It can stop really big mana rocks. Well, I already said Basalt.
There's a lot of big activated abilities.
You can target, say, like Steel Hellkite, which is a nice segue into my board removal section of the deck, I suppose. So yeah, if they try to destroy all your 3-drops, you could just say, no, I named Steel Hellkite with Revoker, go away. Otherwise, I have some more, the only other board wipe effects I have are Death Begets Life, because I figure, well, I'm going to destroy everything, might as well refill my hand too. If I want to slow down the game or try to sneak out a win somehow, I can always Dimensional Breach somebody so that the game's not quite over or restarted a la Karn Liberated. But, you know, it messes with the table. For those that don't know, it's a 7 mana sorcery that removes all permanents from the game, and as long as any of those cards remain exiled, sorry, it says removed from the game, so it's tripping me up a bit. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player puts one of those cards back into play, so it gets everything, your lands, your creatures, everything. Puts it in a nice little stack in exile, and you get one of those things back per turn.
It reads double the game's length.
Yeah, it's
what it reads.
Yeah, essentially. It's almost like it's almost like planar cleansing and then following up with like an Armageddon, right? But you get the stuff back. You're not completely screwed, right? And then for other board manipulation stuff, I have sorry, let me I just brain farted for a sec. I have Druid of Purification, which is more artifacts and enchantments, but it can get rid of pesky stuff I don't want on the board, and it doesn't have to affect mine. It's like a smaller Bane of Progress, but it doesn't destroy everything.
Especially in our bigger groups too, right? It's like basically a Bane of Progress.
Yeah, and plus it doesn't affect my stuff as well, like I said, so if I'm like packing some heavy stuff like Rhystic Study, Mycosynth Lattice, Bolus's Citadel, you know, like it doesn't affect my stuff and I can just target everything that's ruining my day. So
Yeah.
as selfish as that sounds. And then I have Sleep for comic effect, and I always whenever I do it, it annoys the hell out of the guys, but I always do the Mantis impression from Guardians of the Galaxy. I just go, sleep. But yeah, no, it's a really funny card. Always comes in at a good time to destroy everybody. So also I have
Great series.
yeah. Also, I have Other Sworn Adjudicator.
Supposed to see that.
What?
I saw my One Punch Man.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
like,
Sorry, they're looking through anime on Disney Plus, I guess. And then yeah, I also have some other utility cards. I try to be a little friendly with some cards, so I run things like Howling Mine and Rune Servitor to give people extra cards. I also run Edric and Quain, Itinerant Meddler. Edric is good because combat damage gets you cards as long as it doesn't hit you. Everybody is given an if choice. If they do, they gain a life. So it's like you tap it, they draw a card, and they may draw a card, sorry. If they do, you gain a life. It's nice and considerate because it considers circumstances where you might just not want to draw a card. Either you're going to deck out or it's going to trigger some bad effect or whatever. So it counts for that. But if the opponents take the bribe, so to speak, I mean, take the free gift I'm offering them, they get a bit of life out of it too. So it's like, it's not like each player may sack a creature. If they do, they discard a card or whatever. It's actually helping you out. Yeah. Rune Servitor is a nice little mana blocker, or chump blocker as well. That's friendly, so people like might attack you like, oh yeah, you're gonna be a cool guy, I'll attack you. It's like, okay, I'll block with this, you draw a card, cool. You draw a card as well when it dies, so it helps you as well. And then Howling Mine is, well, self-explanatory. You get an extra card extra card in your draw step. I also have things that care about what the opponents do, like I have not Library of Lang, that's a bad example. Archivist of Ogma, so every time you tutor, he gains your life and draws you a card. I also run Erast of the Endless Web, especially because there's a couple of combo decks at our table. We have a couple people who have played like Narset. I think I can use your name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon plays Elsha of the Infinite. I've played Narset, so like instant and sorceries are commonplace at our table. I think there's a Prosper Tomebound deck or two.
Yeah, I got Prosper,
yeah.
I also run a Prosper.
Yeah, I think another friend of ours runs Prosper. I'm not going to use his name because we don't have his consent to, but yeah, no, it's a good combination of cards. And then I also have some combat tricks in here. I have a lot of weird stuff in here. I know this deck seems weird, like this is 12 decks put together.
How is this actually all in 99 cards?
Yeah,
like,
it's absolute jank, and there's
so
and check
stuff.
out the deck list below. But I urge you, if you have these cards, play it. Trust me, it's weird, but it works. I have some funny combat tricks too. Like if I need a quick blocker that can kill something big and threatening, I can flash into Wing Codal. I also have cards like Stuffy Doll, which is just funny, you know, if I want to play
I'm
politics.
always named the Stuffy Doll. I hate it.
Well, I mean, there is a reason for that.
Well,
Not
I like Brash Taunter.
Brash Taunter's a lot friendlier, but not quite.
There's that new one, the skittering
friendlier
girl.
word.
All the
Yeah.
skittering.
The thing that looks like the Toy Story.
Skitter Spike.
Yeah, Skitter Spike from the Duskmourn Commander stuff.
I love
Yeah.
having that thing in my Cutzel deck and just enchanting the heck out of it.
Yeah.
Watching people drop dead.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I also run Copperhorn Scout because I'm like, if I'm in a position where I need to attack somebody, I want to make sure I have blockers back as well. This satisfies both cravings by letting you untap your other creatures when you attack with it. It's a 1 mana 1/1. It's a 1 green 1/1 elf. So elf Dax, that's a card for you too. It's like 10 cents to. Excuse me.
Vigilance or something.
What? Yeah,
It's
it's
like a
pseudo.
pseudo-vigilance.
It's pseudo vigilance for your other stuff as long as you attack with it. So. I also have a lot of automatic costed stuff in here, so I figured Yennet Cryptic Sovereign would be a good fit. I was like, I need a good flyer. Hey, a lot of this stuff is odd costed. Hey, what about Yennet? So that's in the 99 as well. For those that don't know, it's a 2 white, blue, and a black for a 3/5 flying vigilance menace, and when it attacks, you may reveal the top card of your library, and if it's an automatic cost thing, you may is a caster play. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Otherwise, you draw that card. So if it's like, oh yeah, I drew a Rhystic Study off the top, I'll put that on the board. Or I got a Stuffy Doll, I'll put that on the board, you know? So it's a nice little combat trick there. And then for the defensive side of things, I thought this was a funny idea, but I decided to put Audric, Lunarch Marshal, in the deck. He gives everyone a bunch of keywords at the beginning of combat, including Atraxa's keywords of Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. So I figured
Clearly defensive.
I'm a little aggressive with it, but it's good on the
attack.
defense too.
The
Like,
guy that never attacks.
yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's just really effective at having a good attack force, good at having a group back. I also run Twinning Twins in this deck. That one has an adventure spell that allows you to blink something while exile and then return on end step. So not a blink per se, but close enough, as I like to say. Like an Eerie Interlude or a Semester's End, but for one creature. And that's good at re-triggering Atraxa's effect, reloading your hand, or just trying to filter for the cards you really need. Because, I mean, Atraxa goes through 10 cards at once, so you're going to want to do that a couple times a game, right? I used to have a Conjurer's Closet in here, for goodness sake, until I needed it for another deck, and I put in Ballista's Citadel, one of the support cards for the deck. I have a couple cards that are just here just to kind of back up the deck, make sure it has some stuff when it's not doing the other things with enchantments or artifacts or whatever. And plus, Ballista's Citadel just lets me pays a bunch of life I've been gaining from Atraxa, if I gain the life, to just play stuff with my life total.
Yeah.
I can also play other support stuff, like I've got Elish Norn to suppress the opponent's board state. I can get an Enigma Sphinx as a flying blocker that cascades into something else, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
I also have Eddie Lonesome Eyebot, who, if I do go on the aggressive, can draw me some extra cards via his quest counter effect. And then if I need to slow people down because they're countering all my stuff, I've got Teferi Time Raveler, which puts everyone on sorcery timing, and then the other things Teferi does. I also have for myself a Library of Leng. Now, this card's really interesting. So, I know it's from, I don't know which set this is from. It's from Revised 4th, 5th, I don't know. But with this card, it essentially reads, you have no maximum hand size. If you would discard a card, you may put that card on top of your library instead of the graveyard. So, like, let's say you're wind falling or something, you got to discard your 7 cards, draw 8 more. You could just take those 7, put them back on top of your deck, and draw them again. You don't have to throw them in the graveyard.
That's how that works.
Yep. And then another thing they do add as well, just to clarify the rules for the card, it does say at the bottom, if the discard is at random for any reason, like Burning Inquiry or something. Burning Inquiry discards at random, right?
Draw 3, discard 3 at random?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so if you do have the discarded at random, you can choose where it goes before it goes to your graveyard or library, so it does solve for that as well. So, and then last but not least, certainly not least, I do have a bit of a recursion package. It's a bit small just because there's so much also crammed in here, but I have a Liesa, Forgotten Archangel, which can get me back my creatures and prevent them from hitting the graveyard and popping them back in my hand. I have Sorin, Vengeful Bloodlord, which, aside from giving my creatures lifelink, can also reanimate my stuff. I also have Regrowth, because, classic recursion spell. If I want a specific sorcery or specific card, I can just pick whatever and call it good. I've Regrowth lands before, though, unfortunately, so Yeah, it's handy. I'd suggest it in any deck running green if they had it, but yeah, no, and then and then the last card I have here for the deck to show for today. I didn't go over them in brief detail, but like I said, deck list will probably be down in the description. Brandon will put it there after I send it to him and post up the video. It has a passive ability like a lot of the War of the Spark Planeswalkers that prevents your opponents from causing you to discard cards or sacrifice permanents like spells and abilities they control. Can't force you to do that. So you're protected from decks like Terragrid or wheel decks like Nekusar in that regard. It also has a -3, which returns target card from your hand like Regrowth does. But its +1 ability helps you filter through your deck and try to get you stuff. So what happens when you activate it is you name a card, any card. You reveal the top 4 of your library. If none of them are the card you named, then all of them go to your graveyard. But if your deck goes, is this your card? And it is the card you named, you put that card in your hand. Which is really nice because it serves a dual purpose, as I've used this card to dig for the Tezzeret Mycosynth Lattice combo myself. Sorry. And I'm coughing a lot today, sorry guys. And then if I like say name Tezzeret and mill Mycosynth Lattice, I can go, okay, I'll just go get -3 and get the Mycosynth Lattice out of my grave for now, and then go back to looking for Tezzeret or something like that. So it does serve a lot of utility. This card, it's a Swiss Army knife of a card, man. It's pretty good. But yeah, no, that is just a brief summary of Atraxa Grand Unifier. She is a crazy deck. The land base in this deck, you'll see it in the deck list, is kind of middle of the road. It's not great, but it's not horrible. So I feel like that's open to interpretation, however you want to build it. Highly suggest following that balance I recommended earlier with the not having too many basics or non-basics, making sure you have even distribution among your basics, regardless of your distribution among your dual lands.
Right.
But yeah, that's just my advice, and that's Atraxa.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's a really pretty thorough explanation of the cards, and yeah, I really appreciate your time and energy into that.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I got a little rambly at parts. That's just how I talk about stuff, man. So
No, that's awesome. Really appreciate it. Awesome.
no worries.
Thank you, Jacob.
yeah, thanks YouTube.